I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting for the City of Springdale for November 19, 2025. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious God, we ask for your guidance and wisdom as we gather today. Help us to listen to one another with open hearts and minds. Lord, be with those leaders that will be leaving this dais and starting their new stages in life. Bless the newly elected individuals as they prepare for their new roles and responsibilities. I pray that this meeting and our time to be together be productive and fruitful. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan-Wisecup. Next, will Ms. Brown, if you take roll.
Mr. Gleaves?
Present.
Mr. Jacobs?
Present.
Ms. McFarland? Mrs. Sullivan-Wisecup?
Here.
Mr. Vanover?
Present.
Mrs. Webster? Present. Mr. Anderson?
Present. Ms. McFarland notified us that they've got a number of illnesses running through their household, so we wish her and her family health quickly. All right, next up, we'll move on to the minutes. Council, in your packets, you received the minutes for November 5th, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion or updates? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as published signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are approved by affirmation. All right, next we'll move on to committee and official reports. We'll start up, as usual, with Civil Service Commission. Mr. Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of council, good evening. The Springdale Civil Service Commission met on November the 6th in the Springdale Municipal Building, and the meeting was called to order by myself. Members of the commission were all in attendance. Also were Assistant City Administrator Stephanie Morgan, along with Human Resources Administrator Renetta Edwards. There was a few items on the agenda that we wanted to have discussion and complete. And first of all was the Finance Account Clerk 1 hiring process. And that process at this point was 28 applicants had applied for the Finance Account Clerk 1 position prior to the October 31st closing date of the posting. So that particular position is moving forward and may very well be looking to fill it shortly. Is that right, Stephanie? Okay. The Public Works Maintenance Worker position, the candidates are in the background process there. So again, that position is moving forward as well. And lastly, the Police Clerk hiring position, there was 87 total applicants for the police clerk hiring position. Elimination of the applicants will occur based on the qualifications prior to determining applicants for interviews. In other words, not 87 people are going to get interviewed. So again, due to waiving the testing, we will be looking at qualifications within the process. And that completes my report. Any questions?
Don't see any. Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
All right.
All right, next, Rules and Law, Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
Finance Committee, Mr. Vanover.
Thank you, Mr. President. The general fund and beginning balance for October 1st, 2025 was $7,872,913. Our revenues for October were $1,798,081. Expenditures totaled $2,520,012, giving us an ending balance on the general fund of $7,150,982. That would conclude my report.
Thank you for that. Next, we'll move on to Planning Commission, Ms. Sullivan-Wisecup.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning Commission met on November 11th, and we had all members in attendance. Our first person was Full Throttle. It was for a minor modification at 11725 Commons Drive. What they were asking for was to have black accents on the side of the building that would actually blend with the other area. And they also wanted an awning that had red underlit so that the awning would look like a lit up red. And so that was approved 7-0 with saying that they needed to work with the city to make sure that the colors were approved. And then we had SPS building number 4 at 1125 Strategic Parkway. It's the old GE Park, for those of you who know. It was a minor modification. The building is south of Sleep Number. It's in the bottom corner. And they wanted to request a minor modification to allow fencing. It would not be visible from, because of where it was lower, and it's not visible from the right-of-way, so it was voted yes, 7-0. Kroger came with wastewater treatment tanks at 11801 Chesterdale, and they had already been through BZA, as we heard last month's report, and so what they came to us for was relief from section 153.253E20 of the zoning code, which requires materials of accessory structures to be complementary with the main building. And the tanks will be painted to match the building, and staff will work with Kroger to make sure that it is good. And so that passed with a 7-0 vote. And that is everything that I have, unless you have any questions.
Don't see any, thank you. Next, Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. Gleaves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to make clear, I did not give this report last meeting, so I'm going to give it now. It's a,
Sorry, I knew it happened last meeting. I'm so sorry.
Okay. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on October 28th. Training was conducted by our Law Director, Joe Braun, 6 p.m., and the meeting started at 7 p.m. There was one absent. It was Kroger. 4 variances at 1101 Chesterdale Road. The Kroger Company property owners is requesting following 4 variances from the Springdale Zoning Code in conjunction with the installation of a wastewater treatment system. Variance number 1, to allow detached accessory buildings in the front yard where they are only permitted in the rear yard per section 153.253E20B. Variance number 2, to allow for more than one accessory structure where only one is permitted per section 153.253E. Variance number 3, to allow an accessory structure to be 5,000 square feet where 750 square feet is the maximum permitted per section 153.253E20C. Variance number 4, to allow an accessory building to be 40 feet in height where 16 feet is maximum height per section permitted per table 253-2. All 4 variances were approved by a 6-0 vote with 2 conditions. Condition number 1, vertical landscaping to be surrounding the structure along the east, west, and north side. A plan should be submitted to staff for review and approval. Number 2, all lots owned by Kroger are to be consolidated. That's my report. If there's any questions, please feel free.
Don't see any, thank you. All right, next up we have the Board of Health. Ms. McFarland is out. I believe Mayor Hawkins has the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pitch hitting for Ms. McFarland. Board of Health met on November the 13th. We did have a quorum despite having 2 members absent. We had 3 resolutions that were approved. Board of Health Regulation R1 2025, a regulation of the Springdale Board of Health amending Board of Health Regulation R1 2024, which established fees for food service operations, retail food establishments, vending machine locations, temporary food operations, and mobile food operations within the city of Springdale, and established fees for food service operation and retail food establishment plan reviews, and that passed unanimously. We also had Board of Health Regulation R2 2025, a regulation of the Springdale Board of Health amending Board of Health Regulation R2 2024 to establish fees for individual public swimming pools, individual public spas, individual special use pools, additional individual public swimming pools at the same location and government tax-supported swimming pools. That also passed with a unanimous vote. And third, we had Springdale Board of Health Regulation R3 2025, a regulation of the Springdale Board of Health establishing fees for hotels and motels within the city of Springdale, amending section 4.0 of the Springdale Board of Health Regulation R3 2024. We also had a report with regard to some things that are in the works. Quick Trip at 55 Progress Place, plans have been approved, construction is pending. Smoothie King at 80 West Kemper, plans approved, construction pending. Firehouse Subs, Princeton Plaza, coming back to us, plans approved, construction pending. And Family Diaz Butcher Shop in Princeton Plaza, plans approved and pending payment. And we also recognize Susie Davis as the Employee of the Month for November, who is one of our student interns. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions, which if you ask any, I'm going to hold those over for Ms. McFarland.
I will say thank you for filling in so admirably. It sounds like there's a lot going on in the city. The Board of Health is pitching in, so thank you. All right, I don't see any other questions. I think you're off the hook. All right, next we'll move on to capital improvements. Ms. Sullivan-Weiskup.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
All right, next is OKI. That's my board. OKI Executive Board did meet on November 13th. Just two updates from that meeting that might be interesting to people on council and in the public. In case you start hearing about House Bill 445, this is aimed, it's being worked on through committees right now, and it's aimed to change the way that MPOs operate. MPOs, if you may recall, are things like OKI, these special purpose, multiple jurisdiction planning organizations. This is how money gets down to the local level. Columbus is looking at making changes to how MPOs can work in Ohio. Just know that as it's currently written, there's no effect expected for how our MPO will work, which is good because OKI is one of those boards that just gets things done around here. This is the work that they're doing is primarily targeted at Cleveland and Columbus's MPOs that are struggling to work as effectively as ours does. The other update we got was we got updates on transportation needs assessments that were done for elderly and disabled in our region. I thought it was interesting because they were able to get over 3,300 surveys, 2,000 from Hamilton County alone, where people were describing their preferences. These are households that rely largely on public transportation and services related to that. So it was good to get that feedback from the community directly so that as we do planning for grants, it's going to things that people actually want and would use. But I thought the number of surveys was admirable and worth mentioning. The last thing we talked about that is worth mentioning is the climate pollution reduction grant that was given to OK a year and a half ago, I think. We got results from that survey. It's the first time that emissions inventory was done for our region. So we talk about greenhouse gases and where they come from. So rather than guessing, there was a full inventory done. And it was interesting to learn that industrial is still our number one polluter in general, 9 to 11 million metric tons per year. Second only is residential emissions. So this is like HVAC, heating, things like that. That came in about 8 million tons a year. The reason I mention it is because one of the other stats they included on that was tree canopy, which negates carbon and these greenhouse gases. In our region, our tree canopies account for about 3.1 million in reduction and negative for greenhouse gases. So it's still a small percentage of your work, but if you think about things that Springdale does for like being a tree city and our tree planting programs, these things have a measurable impact, and we should continue to encourage them as they make a difference in our community. And that's it for the OK update, unless there's any questions. All right, next we'll move on to the mayor's report. Mayor Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things going on in the city since the October report. So first off, we had Slick City ribbon cutting on October 28th. I tried out the slides. They were wonderful. They have food, basketball, dodgeball, video games, the ability to host parties. They also are a great community partner as they made a donation to the Princeton Closet right off the rip. We had the Wawa ribbon cutting on November the 7th. Much anticipated opening, great crowd. There was a line around the building before they even opened up. That's what free coffee will get you, right? There was a hoagie sub making contest between our police department and our fire department. The police department did win. There was a lot of lettuce flying during that contest. We also had the Princeton High School cheerleaders present and participating in that. So it was a wonderful event. We had the Spooky Boo Bash at the Rec Center on October 25th. Elizabeth Johnson did an amazing job in this event. Also a big thank you to Princeton Key Club, who came out, and they were the volunteers for most of the booths that were set up. There were around a dozen or so booths. They varied. They were very creative. You had Pin the Spider on the Web, a spooky ring toss, skeleton plinko, ghost bowling, and a pumpkin launcher, to name the few. There was a costume contest, incredible costumes. My favorite was probably the escaped patient from the mental asylum with bandages and oozing sores. Very, very cool. We also had the Sam's Fuel Station grand opening event on November the 11th as well. Again, a very generous community partner, as they made donations of $2,500 to our police department, fire department, as well as for our Veterans Memorial, and it was very, very kind to them. In terms of Veterans Memorial, we had on Veterans Day our normal celebration, and Major David Mast was present, and he was our guest speaker and assisted in laying the wreath. We had the third graders from Springdale Elementary come out and sing, and they braved the cold weather and hung in there for that as well. There have been increasing concerns, not just in our community, but around the state, around the country, regarding people that are in need, specifically with regard to food, with some things that have gone on in higher government. There was a portable food pantry containing a box of food placed on city property that had been removed by the city. The thought was very generous and kind, good intentions and thoughtful, but the item did have to be removed. There are a number of reasons. I'm not going to go into all of them, but some of it goes into we can't have anything placed on city property without permission. And then from a liability standpoint, and speaking with Mr. Braun, confirming the city can't directly or indirectly endorse anything like that, because the city then puts itself in a position of liability. That said, the act was kind, but not something that we can go forward with. We're fortunate to have a health department, and we have a number of different resources that folks can come and access, either in person or via telephone. You can call up, and we can set folks up with resources regarding food, clothing, shelter, mental health, medical health, whatever. We've got a wide range that we can assist folks with. So we've got our health department staff ready and waiting to help, and we suggest that people have issues, concerns, please come in or call in, and they will take care of you. That said, I want to announce and commend our City Administrator, Brian Ewell, who recently had a new accomplishment as he received the International City County Management Association Credentialed Manager Candidate designation. So congratulations for that. And last but not least, we have received our certificate stating that we, Springdale, are an official America 250 Ohio Community partner, and complete with a flag as well that we will be able to display. Well,
Turn it the other way.
going backwards. There we go.
Very nice.
All right.
So with that, that concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Just one minor housekeeping question. The container that was removed, if the person that put that out there wanted to reclaim it, do you know if it was stored somewhere or if it was destroyed? Mr. Yule.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our Parks Department has that, so yeah, just reach out to administration tomorrow, and then we can make sure it gets back.
Yeah, and understand the reasons. It's unfortunate, but just in case they want, I remember seeing a picture of it somewhere, and it looked like a nice container. I'd hate to see it be destroyed. All right. Next, we'll move on to the administrator's report. Mr. Yule.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of things, as does Ms. Morgan. Just a quick update on our finance officer, tax commissioner position. We are still looking for a potential candidate. The person that we had in our background stage, we decided to move on from that individual. Our HVAC controls and LED lighting project continues with a few minor things that need to be done still this month, and then a couple punch list items, but we're hoping this project and lifts and et cetera can move on here sooner than later. Not to steal Mr. Riggs' thunder if he has this on his agenda, but speaking with Mr. McKinney the other day with Public Works, the Northland Boulevard project, if they haven't already, I know they're going to be opening both lanes of travel. So that should be happening soon if it hasn't yet. So they're not quite done with it, but they're done with it for the season for now. And we'll hopefully be wrapping up sometime the first half of next year. And lastly, we are currently involved in union negotiations with the police department, the two unions right down there. And we hope to have contracts here settled in the next couple weeks, and we'll be bringing legislation before council to get those situated. So, and Ms. Morgan.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to pass along an update regarding the tax department partnership with RITA. We have been having weekly meetings with the RITA team and remain on target for a January 2026 start. We've had 2 extracts of data from our existing software so far, with 1 pending, and our database with RITA is currently under construction. Welcome letters will be going out to all taxpayers, all residents and businesses. Those will be in the mail in early December, coming from RITA. And we will also be posting information to the city's website here in the very near future. We also had a newsletter article in the most recent edition that went out into the homes last week. So much has been happening in the background, but happy to report that all is progressing well and according to schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any questions. All right, next we'll move on to the Law Director report. Mr. Braun.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, I just wanted to report to council that on November the 12th, I met with Council Member-elect Thompson and Council Member-elect Hall, along with other members of city administration, and we have conducted their new council member training, and I can report I think they are ready to serve. So, subject to them reaching back out to us, which we would expect some, we're ready to go. So we will be able to be on time for your organizational meeting. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you for that. And I will say again, also thank you to administration that I sat in on most of that meeting. It's very informative. And if anyone needs a refresher, I know the law director prepared, has some documents with updates on our rules and just nicely done binders of rules and conduct and things like that. If you're interested, I encourage you to reach out and get a copy if you don't have one. They look something like that. But they are handy references. All right, next we'll move on to the engineer's report. Mr. Riggs.
Thank you. Yeah, so the Northland Boulevard project is close to wrapping up, as Brian mentioned. The contractor did put out the final asphalt surface and pavement markings down. They're working on a few things like the traffic signal stuff, but that's hopefully be completed here in the next few weeks. So the full lane closures will be removed. So all lanes will be reopened, but there'll be some spot closures for the contractor to continue work inside the median, and that'll probably continue through the spring. But it's close to wrapping up, so the headache's about to go away. The East Kemper Improvements Phase 1 project, we had 90% plan review meeting with Public Works on October 23rd. We're in the process of finalizing the plans, and we're looking to go to bid on that in January. The Kemper Northland intersection realignment and Kemper Road Shared Use Path project, which I just refer to as Northland Phase 2, we performed the feasibility study, and ODOT just approved that on Tuesday this week, on the 17th. And the Stage 3 design fee proposal, basically the final engineering proposal, that's going to be discussed later on this evening. And the project is tentatively scheduled to be bid in April of 2027, with construction completed in July 2028. And last but not least is the Springdale Industrial Park concrete repairs and catch basin reconstruction project. The contractor finished removing the railroad crossing. They're going to continue work in the spring and hopefully be completed early in the spring with the rest of the remaining concrete work. That's all I had.
Don't see any questions. Thank you, Mr. Riggs. All right, next we'll move on to the Zoning Code Revision Committee. Mr. Gleaves.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Code Revision Committee convened on November 17th with participation from city staff, representative from McBride, Dale Clarion, and members of the Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission. The committee continued to review the potential zoning code amendments, focusing on areas such as accessory structures, lighting, and signage. McBride Dale Claren will now incorporate the committee's feedback and begin drafting proposed code updates. And that's all I have. Is there any questions?
I don't see any, though I will say it is timely. I'm noticing other communities are starting to get in on this as well. A nearby community just recently a township had a bulk of their zoning code thrown out by the electorate, and they have to start from scratch. So I'm glad that we're being proactive and getting updates done the way that we are. So thank you for your work.
It's helped a lot that we've gone every week.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a break. I'll report that break later.
All right. All right, next we'll move on to communications. Ms. Browder, are there any communications for council this evening?
Thank you, Mr. President. No communications.
All right, next we have communications from the audience. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience that would like to address council for any reason. You simply need to come forward to the podium, state your name and address, and you could speak to council for up to 5 minutes. At this point, the floor is now open for communications from the audience. Second call.
Brady Demas, 595 Observatory Drive. Mayor, council, I wanted to thank you for the help you gave me. I came to the council last month with a concern, and you were very generous in explaining to me what the parameters were and that the problem would be looked at, and it pretty much has been resolved. I was a little concerned about the relationship factor, but has not been an issue. Keenan also responded like within the very next day. He came out with a representative from the maintenance department, housing, maybe I got my departments wrong, and then also an interpreter, and that was taken care of. But I especially wanted to thank Mr. Gleaves and Mr. Jacobs because they responded so very quickly. And I appreciate your help, and to be quite frank, I was extremely satisfied with the quick response and the way that you handled it, so I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. The floor is still open. If anyone would like to address council for any reason. Second call. Third and final call. At this point, I'm closing communications from the audience. We'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. First up, we have ordinance number 44, 2025. This is the second reading. Mr. Jacobs.
Ordinance number 44, 2025, authorizing a preliminary ordinance with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation for bridge-sized culvert improvements at State Route 747 and Interstate 275 within the city of Springdale. Whereas the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, has determined the need to pave inverts of bridge-sized culverts and perform other related repairs, including HAM 747-0195, HAM-126-1700, HAM-74-1681, and HAM-275-2448 in the city of Springdale, the project. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that it being in the public interest, the City of Springdale gives consent to and shall cooperate with the Director of Transportation to complete the project. Section 2, the city shall enter into a LPA Federal ODOT LET project agreement, if applicable, as well as any other agreement necessary to develop and construct the project. Section 3, the state of Ohio shall assume and bear 100% of all the costs of the improvements associated with the project. Section 4, that the city agrees to pay 100% of the costs of those features requested by the city, which are determined by the state of Ohio and Federal Highway Administration to be unnecessary for the project. Section 5, that the city agrees to acquire and or make available to ODOT, in accordance with current state and federal regulations, all necessary right-of-way required for the project. The city also understands that right-of-way costs include eligible utility costs. Section 6, the city agrees that all utility accommodations, relocations, and reimbursements will comply with the current provisions of 23 CFR 645 and the ODOT Utilities Manual. Section 7, that upon completion of the project, and unless otherwise agreed, the city shall, 1, provide adequate maintenance for the project in accordance with all applicable state and federal laws, including but not limited to Title 23 USC Section 116, 2, provide ample financial provisions as necessary for the maintenance of the project, 3, maintain the right-of-way, keeping it free of obstructions, and 4, hold said right-of-way inviolate for public highway purposes. Section 8, that the mayor and city administrator are hereby authorized to enter into contracts with the Director of Transportation which are necessary to complete the project and to execute contracts with ODOT pre-qualified consultants for the preliminary engineering phase of the project. Section 9, that upon request of ODOT, the mayor and city administrator are hereby authorized to execute any appropriate documents to effect the assignment of all rights, title, and interests of the city of Springdale to ODOT arising from any agreement with its consultant in order to allow ODOT to direct additional or corrective work, recover damages due to errors or omissions, and to exercise all other contractual rights and remedies afforded by law or equity. Section 10, the council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 11, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after the earliest time allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 44, 2025. It can be acted on tonight. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Browder, if you poll council.
Mrs. Sullivan Meiskop.
Aye.
Mr. Gleaves.
Aye.
Mr. Vanover.
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye.
Mr. Anderson.
Aye. Ordinance number 44, 2025 passes with 6 affirmative votes. All right, next we'll move on to ordinance number 45, 2025. This is also a second reading. Mr. Jacobs.
Ordinance number 45, 2025, an ordinance amending Chapter 94 of the Springdale Code of Ordinances regulating taxation. Whereas the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio Council has previously adopted certain regulations contained within Chapter 94 of the Springdale Code of Ordinances, the code that govern taxation within the City of Springdale, and whereas Council seeks to revise Chapter 94 to align the code with revised provisions contained in the Ohio Revised Code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1. The Chapter 94 of the Springdale Code of Ordinances shall be amended in relevant part as indicated in the attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that this council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 3, that this ordinance shall be effective from and after the earliest period allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 45, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Browder, if you poll council.
Mrs. Sullivan Meiskop.
Aye.
Mr. Gleaves.
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye.
Mr. Vanover.
Aye.
Mr. Anderson.
Aye. Ordinance number 45, 2025 passes with 6 affirmative votes. All right, next we'll move on to ordinance number 46, 2025. This is a first reading, but it does have the emergency clause. Mr. Jacobs.
Ordinance number 46, 2025, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city administrator to enter into an agreement with Verdantis for final design engineering for the Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road intersection modifications and shared use path project and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Springdale, Ohio, the city is planning a modification project at the intersection of Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road, the project, and whereas the project will include construction of shared use paths consistent with the city's connectivity plan, and whereas the city has been awarded funding to offset the estimated cost for construction of the project, and whereas the city seeks to enter into an agreement with Verdantis for final design engineering services related to the project. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that the mayor and city administrator are hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Verdantis for completion of final design engineering for the Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road intersection modifications and shared youth path project for the city of Springdale, the proposal. A copy of the proposal is attached as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, the Finance Officer Tax Commissioner is hereby authorized to pay Verdantis an amount not to exceed $524,600 for completion of the Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road intersection modifications and shared youth path project preliminary design engineering as outlined in the proposal. Section 3, the council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, that this ordinance shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law. Section 5, that this ordinance shall be an emergency measure necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare, and shall, subject to the terms of Article 2D, 3D of the Charter, be effective immediately. The reason for said declaration of emergency is the need to complete the engineering services in a timely manner and maintain the project timeline.
Council, you've heard the reading of ordinance number 46, 2025. It does have the emergency clause and can be acted on tonight. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Brown, if you poll council.
Mrs. Solomaiska?
Aye.
Mr. Gleaves?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Vanover?
Aye.
Mrs. Webster?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye. Ordinance number 46, 2025 passes with 6 affirmative votes. All right, and last in ordinances and resolutions, we have resolution number R19, 2025. Mr. Jacobs, when you're ready.
Resolution number R19, 2025, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity program for the city of Springdale, Ohio, pursuant to section 9.64 of the Ohio Revised Code. Whereas the Ohio General Assembly, through the passage of Ohio House Bill 96, enacted section 9.64 of the Ohio Revised Code requiring political subdivisions to adopt and implement a cybersecurity program to safeguard public data, information technology systems, and information technology resources. And whereas the Ohio Auditor of State, through Bulletin 2025-007, provided guidance to all public offices regarding compliance with Ohio Revised Code Section 9.64, including adoption of policies addressing cybersecurity standards, training, incident reporting, and ransomware response. And whereas the Council of the City of Springdale, the Council, finds that adoption of a cybersecurity program to comply with the requirements of Ohio Revised Code Section 9.64 is in the best interest of public health, safety, and welfare. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that the Council of the City of Springdale does hereby adopt a cybersecurity program pursuant to Section 9.64 of the Ohio Revised Code, developed in compliance with Ohio House Bill 96, the cybersecurity program. Section 2, that the City Administrator and Technical Service Administrator are hereby directed to implement and enforce the cybersecurity program to ensure compliance with all statutory requirements, including employee training, reporting, and oversight. Section 3, that funding for the cybersecurity program shall be drawn from approved budget allocations as authorized by the City Administrator. Section 4, the Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this Council, and that all deliberations of this Council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 5, that this resolution shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the reading of resolution R19, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? I presume this means we'll start getting even more emails about the cybersecurity training in our city email box? Great. All right. See no other questions. Ms. Brown, if you poll council.
Mrs. Solomaiska?
Aye.
Mr. Gleaves?
Aye.
Mr. Vanover?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mrs. Webster?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye. Resolution R19, 2025 passes with 6 affirmative votes. All right, that completes ordinances and resolutions. Next, we'll move on to old business. Before I get to other people in old business, I just wanted to mention, I meant to put on the agenda, we had a item that was carried over from our last meeting, a resolution of a letter to send up chain regarding occupancy limits and the challenges we have doing that. We had talked about having that tonight. It's still under development, which is why you didn't see it on the agenda. But it should have had a placeholder here, which is why I'm bringing it up now. So just know that we will still see that resolution probably at our next meeting. All right. Is there any other old business anyone on council would like to bring forward? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business anyone on council or administration would like to bring forward? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to meetings and announcements. Ms. Sullivan-Weisskopf.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning Commission will meet in these chambers at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 9th.
Mr. Gleaves.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning Appeals, November 18th meeting was canceled. The next meeting is scheduled for December 16th, and the Zoning Code Revision Committee will be meeting on December 8th.
Mayor Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will have the time capsule sealing on December the 1st here at the municipal building in the atrium. We'll be joined by the 5th graders from Springdale Elementary, and we'll have the tree lighting on December the 2nd here at the municipal building at 7 p.m.
Any other meetings or announcements? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to a recap of legislative items and legislation still in development. Mr. Jacobs.
Council, as you review your legislative summary, item 1, authorizing a preliminary ordinance with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation for bridge-sized culvert improvements at State Route 747 and Interstate 275 within the city of Springdale was addressed by Ordinance 44-2025, receiving a second reading and 6 affirmative votes. Item 2, an ordinance amending Chapter 94 of the Springdale Code of Ordinances regulating taxation was addressed by Ordinance 45-2025, receiving 6 affirmative votes. Item 3, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity program for the City of Springdale, Ohio pursuant to Section 9.64 of the Ohio Revised Code was addressed by Resolution R19, 2025, also receiving 6 affirmative votes. And items in development include item 6. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Apologies. Item 4, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city administrator to enter into an agreement with Verdantis for final design engineering for the Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road intersection modifications and shared use path project, and declaring an emergency was addressed by Ordinance 46, 2025, also receiving 6 affirmative votes. Item 5, a resolution of the City of Springdale, Ohio, supporting action to be taken by the Ohio Legislature to address and limit the overpopulation of commercial rental properties located in single-family zone neighborhoods will come before council at our next meeting on December 3rd. And finally, item 6, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city administrator to enter into an agreement with Plattenberg and Associates Incorporated for professional accounting services for the audit of the City of Springdale for the years ending 2025 through 2029 will also receive a first reading at our next meeting on December 3rd. That's all I have unless there's anything else from administration.
I will add too, Council, you did have a memo that was left in your mailboxes that outlines a number of committee appointments that will be coming up in our December 3rd meeting. So just know that we'll probably have some additional resolutions on December 3rd, including 4 of them for resident appointments, 1 for charter, 1 for civil service, 1 for tax review board, 1 for BZA, and then there's 11 council appointments that require council appointments and our votes that will also be on our agenda for December 3rd. So not our special meeting, but in the December 3rd meeting. And you can refer to your memo on the details for those. All right, any other business that anyone else would like to bring forward related to legislation? All right, seeing none. The last thing we have on our agenda before adjournment is something that we haven't done in the past that I think is a good thing for us to do, and that's recognizing outgoing officials. The results of elections can be hard and exciting depending on who you are and where you are on the ballots, but we should take a moment to pause and recognize the officials, either by choice or by the election, are leaving the dais after years of service. So we added this as our last meeting with some of these representatives on the dais to officially recognize them while they're here with us to receive those commendations. Council, we will still have our normal resolutions that we do officially commending them in our December meeting with the new council, but as an outgoing council and peers, both administration and I thought it was important that we do this to recognize their work. So tonight we want to recognize Ms. Sullivan-Weiskup and Mr. Vanover for their years of service. And I believe Mayor Hawkins has some comments that he wants to make related to that. And there'll be an opportunity for anyone else on council that wants to say anything. We'll have that opportunity as well. Mayor Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. What about the second
Oh, my goodness.
communication
Yes.
before we?
Before we do that, thank you for catching me on that. And thank you for letting me know. I skipped right past that. I had my sheet over it. Let's go back to communications with the audience. There was an opportunity that you still have to speak to council on any matter that you would like. Simply come forward to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes to address council. Sorry, Ms. Vanover, I should have caught that. Thank you for speaking up.
My name is Donna Vanover. I'm at 11982 Tavel Court in Heritage Hill. I would like to thank Councilwoman McFarland and Councilwoman Webster on their respect given to my husband, Tom Vanover, during the recent election process. Tom has served these last 32 years with honesty and respect of our neighbors, contrary to other sitting council members when it was stated that their goal was to remove him during this election, which was very disheartening to both of us. There's no shame in losing a seat on council when all is above board. But when that is not what went on, it will be discouraging others in running for seats in the future. I pray that our neighborhoods will continue with the improvements that my husband has already started.
The floor is still open if anyone else would like to address council. Second call.
Excuse me. Are we
Yes,
allowed to
Ms.
do
Webster.
our proclamations now, or we have to wait for Lawrence?
Oh, if you're referring to outgoing recognition, let's save that till after we finish communications to the audience.
I wait for a while?
Unless you wanted to address Ms. Vanover's comments.
I'll do it from here.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you. All right, the floor is still open if anyone else would like to address council for any reason. Second call. Third and final call. All All right, I'm closing communications with the audience, and now going back to outgoing official recognition. As I mentioned before, it is no small feat to spend time on this dais. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see. And I truly, for myself, appreciate Mr. Vanover and Ms. Sullivan-Weisskopf's time and attention throughout the community and on all the committees that they've worked on. I believe Mayor Hawkins had some comments to make, so I'll turn to him first.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as indicated, it's important to make sure we give flowers to folks while they're here. So first off, with regard to Miss Megan Marie Sullivan-Weisskopf, I have a proclamation. Whereas Megan Marie Sullivan-Weisskopf was born and raised in Springdale, truly her entire life as a Springdale resident, she and her husband Brian raised 2 children, Becca and Ian, in the Princeton School District. And whereas Megan was involved in a variety of sports growing up in Springdale and has gone from playing sports to coaching sports, and whereas Megan spent many years actively in support of the city's youth by volunteering in the Springdale Youth Boosters and the Princeton City School District, which included coaching soccer and cheerleading and service with the Princeton Elementary and Middle School PTAs. And whereas Megan served on the Springdale Board of Zoning Appeals and the Springdale Parks and Recreation Commission from 2016 to 2019, and whereas Megan Sullivan-Weisskopf was first elected to Springdale City Council in 2017 to represent District 3, and whereas during her 8 years on City Council, Megan served as council representative on Planning Commission from 2019 to 2025, and her committee service included Public Utilities Committee, Public Relations Committee, Capital Improvements Committee, Rental Program Committee, Public Welfare and Safety Committee, and the Public Works Committee, many of which served as the chair. And whereas Megan Sullivan-Weisskopf's years of service, dedication, and passionate commitment to the betterment of our community are to be commended. And where it is my great honor to issue this proclamation on this day, now I, therefore, Lawrence C. Hawkins III, Mayor of the City of Springdale, do hereby proclaim November 19, 2025 as Megan Marie Sullivan-Weisskopf Day in the City of Springdale. Have you come forward and take this, and then we can take some photos.
Keep it together.
Now, in addition to that, just briefly, you serve the city well, and the city's better for your time and service. We've sat through a number of years on Planning Commission, BZA, City Council, and we've seen some shady things together in meetings. It'll be odd to look down the dais and not see your face there. Over the years, we have shared many a look and have been able to communicate with one another without saying a word on the dais. You are responsible for the one time when I completely lost my composure on a dais and laughed uncontrollably like an 8-year-old child. We were in a meeting, I can't remember if it was Planning Commission or BZA planning, and Megan was commenting on something, and she said, "That looks like shed," S-H-E-D. And I thought she said something else. And I laughed uncontrollably for about 5 to 8 minutes until Liz, who was taking our minutes, leaned over and said, "She said shed." I said, "Oh, okay." Because I'm looking at everybody else like, "What's wrong with you? Did you hear what she just said?" On behalf of the city, we thank you, and you will be missed, and it will not be the same seeing you on the dais.
All right, I don't see any other lights. Again, thank you, Ms. Sullivan-Weisskopf, for your time here. I believe, Mayor Hawkins, you still have the floor.
Thank you. proclamation for Mr. Thomas Vanover. Whereas Thomas Vanover and his wife Donna have called Springdale home since 1982 and raised their two children, Chris and Leslie, in the Princeton City School District. And whereas Tom Vanover received his Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Cincinnati and went on to become a successful self-employed electrical contractor for over 20 years. And whereas Tom served on the Springdale Board of Zoning Appeals from 1991 to 1993. And whereas Tom Vanover was first elected in 1993 to represent District 4. And during his 32 years on City Council, Tom Vanover served in many capacities, including President of Council from 2013 to 2023, Vice President of Council from 1999 to 2012, Council Representative on Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals, and his committee service included the Finance Committee, Rental Committee, Civil Service Review Board, Public Utilities Committee, Capital Improvements Committee, Rules and Laws Committee, Public Health, Safety and Welfare Committee, Public Works Committee, Public Relations Committee, Board of Health and Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council. And whereas Tom Vanover was actively involved in Springdale youth sports throughout his years as a soccer coach, and whereas Tom Vanover's years of service, dedication, and commitment to the betterment of our community are to be commended. And whereas my great honor to issue this proclamation on this day, now therefore I, Lawrence C. Hawkins III, Mayor of the City of Springdale, do hereby proclaim November 19th, 2025, Thomas Vanover Day. There's one other thing on behalf of this council and prior councils, the administration and myself, Mr. We retire this council president. Okay.
I believe Ms. Webster wanted to speak as well. Ms. Webster.
Thank you. We have been friends of the Vanovers family for 40 years. In fact, I think I'm the one responsible for him being here a long time ago. I'm very sorry to have him leave this dais, but I feel the sorriest for the city of Springdale. Tom is very knowledgeable about the workings of the city. Having served on the Board of Health, some of this will be repetition, Mayor Hawkins, I didn't know you were going to do it all. The Board of Health, Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Finance Committee, Rules and Laws, Rental Committee, President of Council, and a couple others I'm sure I've missed. Tom Vanover is the ultimate professional. Even when a member of this dais had an issue with a member of council, Tom handled the matter with dignity and professionalism. Best of luck in the future, Tom and Donna. Thank you for your service and dedication to the city of Springdale. Thank you.
Ms. Sullivan-Westcott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, I talked to you before the meeting. You already know. I've known Tom since I was about 6 years old. He lived right by my best friend. And when I got to be on council, he was absolutely invaluable to me. Especially those first few years, I called on a daily basis. What am I doing? What do I do? How do I look like I know what I'm doing? And thank you. Your honesty, your integrity, it's always been #1 with me, and you know that. I appreciate you.
Mayor Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. You left the city better than when you found it, which is the goal for all of us, right? We go back 22 years to 2003 when I was first on Planning Commission, and so you literally have been on the dais with me since the first time I sat up here in some capacity. You've always conducted yourself professionally in your duties. When I started on Planning Commission, you along with two other people, Steve Galster and Dave Oakham, were role models for me. And no one said, watch these guys, but you sit and you watch and you learn what to do and what not to do. And so you three were folks that I watched, and you figure out how to make a motion, you figure out how to do reports on council, how to do reports on planning, you figure out what is pertinent information to ask about and look for. And so I appreciate that personally for the role that you played for me going through that. You will be missed, and as you would say, a tip of the cap.
Mr. Yule.
Thank you, Mr. President. To both of you, thank you very, very much for welcoming me in 2020 when I joined the city. And I have very much appreciated the conversations and more importantly, the friendships that we've established over the years. And I appreciate the time that we spent together up here on the dais, but also in various committees. And you guys have been fantastic for the city, and again, continue to provide a great foundation for the city, continue to move forward. So thank you very much for your service. You will be missed, and please stop in and see us.
All right. And with that, all we have left this evening is item 17.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone. We're
Mr.
adjourned for the
President,
night.
Mr.
I'm
President, we did have some comments from Ms. McFarland that she wanted us to read. I don't know if you received that note. I do have it
didn't.
here. She had preferred that I take care of that for her this evening, if that's okay.
Certainly. Sorry, there's no light for you on here, so.
I know.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So we're still in item 16.
And her intent was to have a message for each of you, Ms. Sutherland Wisecup and Mr. Vanover. So I'll read that for you now. And this is written from Ms. McFarland, council member who ill this evening and unable to attend. She starts off with, I am so sorry I'm not able to be there tonight to serve with the both of you one more time. For Mr. Vanover, you have served on council since I was a kid. As kids, we looked up to the leaders who were taking care of our city. I never imagined I would have the opportunity to sit on the dais and serve with you. Thank you for your support as I began my 2 terms ago. Thank you for offering continued support as you step away into a well-deserved full retirement. And of course, thank you for your service to the city. I also need to say a quick thank you to your wife, Donna, who has always checked in on my kids during some of those long meetings, and to one of those who has always made sure my kids had candy. For Mrs. Sutherland Wisecup, Megan, I have known you since I was a kid too, Chris's little sister. As one of the big kids, I always looked up to you. I can't begin to thank you for your support over the last several years. Both personal and professionally, you have rallied with me through some of the best and worst times. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to serve with you. It won't be quite the same without you. I hope this newfound time will allow you to focus on yourself and get some much-deserved rest. Don't forget, you will always be known as the Honorable Megan Sullivan Wisecup. To everyone else, cover your coughs, wash your hands, and stay healthy.
Well, if she's watching, thank you for those comments, Ms. McFarland, and Ms. Browder for passing them along. All right, last call for any business this evening. Anything that I've missed or anyone else wants to speak? All right, and with that, we have item 17.
Move to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.